Engineer, faders up.
Got the blues? That's a good thing. It's the Lowdown Hoedown on WDNS Bolling Green D93.
Greetings, brothers and sisters. Greg Martin here. Brother Greg Martin here at 7 o'clock. It's time for the Lowdown Hoedown. How you doing out there? It is a little chilly here in Bolling Green, but it's clear skies, 58 degrees, and just springtime. What can we say? Hope everybody's doing well. I'm out on the road over the weekend with the Headhunters. We played Runflow Valley, Kentucky on Saturday night. I had a sold-out show, and then, of course, last night here in Bolling Green, we did a really cool thing in memory of Concert Jim Miller. A really special show for our buddy, Concert Jim's Homemade Jam, and it was an amazing time. You folks that didn't get to attend, it was pretty special. It really turned out special. I got to perform a set of Hound Dog Taylor inspired blues with Boone Froggatt, Lonesome Dale Myers, myself, and we were calling ourselves Cedar Flat Lightning, and we had a wonderful time with Nine Horse Johnson, Mad Navigator, Bluesberry Boys, and just so many. Who am I missing here? I can't think right now because I've got got some stuff going on. But Ernie Small Blues Band. A big thanks to Ernie Small. Man, did we have fun. We had fun last night. And Miss Erica Brady. We'll talk more about that a little later. But I was going to let you know tonight, the Lowdown Hoedown is brought to you by our friends at the Lindsay Production Group here in Bolling Green. Tony Lindsay and Company, of course. Melodies and Memories. The Mellow Mushroom. Stockton Custom Shop. All Things Guitar Lesson Studio. And I guess the next thing we need to be talking about that's coming up real soon will be Wishbone Ash coming to Bolling Green on Tuesday night, June 20th. And Rufus F. will be opening up for that show right there. Jared England, Chris Hardesty, Dean Smith, and myself. And we're looking forward to that. Hope you're doing well. Tonight, my special calling guest will be Phil Keaggy, my dear friend Phil Keaggy, who now resides outside of Nashville, originally from Youngstown, Ohio, founding member of the group Glass Harp, and has been in contemporary Christian music for years, one of the founding fathers. He'll be calling in around 8:20, so we're going to be going back to the archives of Glass Harp, and we will also be talking about a really cool album that just released recently by Glass Harp. It was their first single and demos, recorded in Ohio back in 1969, and the fine folks at Peppermint Records contacted me and sent me the CD, and a big thanks to Neil Williams as well. But their first single, Where Did My World Come From, which we'll play tonight at some point. But this is really cool because this is before Dan Pecchio was in the band. Phil Keaggy, John Safara, and Steve Markland. So it's released 9 songs. Yeah, it's so cool. Psychedelic. But we're going to really go back to the, we're going to really be featuring some music from the early Glass Harp, the albums on MCA. So let's jump into it. From Glass Harp's first album, back in... this came out in 1970 on Decca Records, recorded at Electric Lady Studios in New York. Produced by Louis Bernstein, Phil Keaggy, John Safara, Dan Pecchio. Their self-titled album. Here we are. Can You See Me, Brother? Here on the Lowdown Hoedown, D93, Bolling Green's classic rock.
too many people saying what it's all about. Should be praying to find themselves and not out.
What do you get when you play the blues on a 59 Les Paul or a 57 Strat through a vintage Marshall stack? The blues had a baby, and they call it rock and roll. The Lowdown Hoedown with Greg Martin. 3 hours of blues you can use on Bolling Green's classic rock, D93.
She stands, her eyes to the sky. I see a girl sent by the breeze. She is wearing blue, yellow satin slips away. Her name might ask, well, I would greet her and say it's such a beautiful day. We can climb a dirty mountain, ooh, and still our hands be clean. Riding underneath the rainbow, a children's fantasy. All too long, our hearts full of gladness. We talked about the much younger days, the happy times, but then there was sadness, and times were bored, and then be amazed. We have climbed the dirty mountain, running underneath the rainbow, ooh, children's fantasy. Children's fantasy. Children's fantasy.
Glass Harp here on the Lowdown Hoedown, D93 Bolling Green's classic rock from their debut back in 1970 on Decca Records, self-titled release, Children's Fantasy, and Can You See Me? Phil Keaggy, John Savera, Dan Pecchio. And I've told the story several times, but I'll tell it again. I'm guessing it was Christmas of 1971. I was living in Midcap County. Of course, I'd moved from Louisville to Midcap County in 1967, and we would usually go up and visit my grandparents in Louisville. And, during the holidays, either Thanksgiving or Christmas. I'm pretty sure this was Christmas. So I would visit a lot of my old friends that played guitars. We all played guitar in grade school, and I moved off and started playing. And I got hanging out with 2 or 3 guys during Christmas of 71. We were driving around, and they had just seen a group called Glass Harp in Cincinnati. And I'm pretty sure they saw them at Ludlow Garage. And my 2 buddies were really good guitar players. And they said, man, this guy in Glass Harp, he makes it sound like a violin. And it was just going off about what a great trio they were. And I thought, man, I need to check these guys out. So I put the name in the back of my mind. And I remember maybe just a few months later, I saw a picture of Glass Harp in Hit Parader or Song Hits magazine, and Phil talking about his faith and how his faith in the Lord had given him more of a direction in his music. Of course, at that time I was playing gospel music in a little quartet, and I thought, well, how cool is this? I mean, a band like that playing spiritual music. I played for the Lord. Still hadn't heard them, but in the spring of 72, my senior year, I go to Rice's Radio in Glasgow, and they have a box of promo 45s, and there, lo and behold, there's a 45 Children's Fantasy in Village Queen. So I bought it, and I went home to listen. I went, wow, I love this band. I still hadn't heard the first album, but about a month later, in Louisville, at the original doo-wop shop, I did a swap, believe it or not. Well, I actually sold like a 5960 Fender Esquire guitar. I hated that guitar. I would love to have it back now. I'd get it. But back then, I hated that guitar because I was used to humbuckings, and I didn't understand why that Esquire wouldn't distort like a humbucker, you know. But I hated that guitar so much that I let the folks at trade school paint it psychedelic, and then when I didn't like that, we painted it black, and then I sold it. But anyway, I had some credit also at this at the doo-wop shop, which was a head shop in Louisville. When I visited, they had the Synergy album by Glass Harp. So I got that first, took it home, and I put on One Day at a Time, Never Is a Long Time, and I heard the guitar and went, oh my God. It was just amazing. And there was such a testimony to Christ on the album too, which was amazing too, you know. Beautiful, just a beautiful album. Loved it. So that was my initial introduction to Glass Harp. And then, you know, I went back and bought the first album, had Synergy, and then When It Makes Me Glad was released just a little bit later, I bought that. And then lost track of Phil for a bit until the mid-70s. I didn't realize that he was had left the band until about 74. Then he went into the Christian music field, and he had released What a Day and Love Broke Through. And I bought Love Broke Through actually in 76, I believe. And didn't hear What a Day till later either, which I love that album. So anyway, I'm a big fan. I've loved Phil for his musicality, his brotherhood, and where he stands spiritually, and just been a really great friend. Him and Dan and John, great guys. All right, let's take care of some business. When we come back, I'll play you Village Queen and Changes from the first album, because you are listening to Lowdown Hoedown here on D93 Bolling Green's Classic Rock.
Hi, this is Ron Stoodle with Stoodle Financial. Let's start 2023 out on a positive note. Because of the market disaster of 22, you won't have to pay as much income tax. The enormous losses on your brokerage accounts may be claimed to offset any other capital gains you may have had and create up to a $3,000 loss. Because you have so much less money, your brokerage management fees should be less as well. Also, your need to work into your 70s and 80s to sustain a lifestyle that your reduced retirement funds can't support is very mentally and physically healthy. You know, engaged. If these uplifting facts aren't exciting you, maybe you should call Stoodles. Our clients lost zero money in 2022. Our clients received over $9 million in bonuses in 2022. For a free evaluation of your financial options, call Stoodles today at 270-438-2611 or visit online at stoodlefinancial.com.
Mic check, 1, 2, 3, check, 1, 2, 3. From small clubs to concert venues to outdoor festivals, the Lindsay Production Group stands ready to help with all your production needs. At Lindsay Production Group, their team of production experts can create an event that offers the best audience experience ever. Concerts, festivals, political events, church events, and more. Lindsay Production Group is here to make your event an occasion to remember. Their aim is to make things move as seamless as possible, and they've set the bar for event production companies in this area. Concert touring can be highly stressful, And the crew at Lindsay Production Group has been trusted by local favorites like the Kentucky Headhunters, Sam Bush, Webb Wilder, and more. So when you need staging and production at your event, it's time to call the best. Lindsay Production Group. Sound, stage, lights, they do it all. Call 270-799-1718. That's 270-799-1718. That's a wrap.
Are you looking for the perfect sound? Then look no further than Stocktone Custom Shop, specializing in custom handmade in the USA guitar and bass pickups. The Stocktone Custom Shop can create all the great iconic guitar and bass pickups of the past. They can also clone your favorite vintage pickups so you can get that old school sound out of any instrument. They also rewind, restore, and repair vintage pickups. Call 765-524-3966 or check out the Stocktone Custom Shop Facebook page. Get the sound you've always been looking for with the Stocktone Custom Shop.
I'd rather ride a bike with my kids than ride in an ambulance.
I'd rather have a catch with my dog Curtis than catch pneumococcal pneumonia.
If you're 19 or older with certain chronic conditions like heart disease, asthma, or diabetes, you may be at increased risk for pneumococcal pneumonia. Ask your doctor or pharmacist about getting vaccinated with Prevnar 20 pneumococcal 20-valent conjugate vaccine, a Pfizer vaccine that can help protect against pneumococcal pneumonia in just one dose. Learn more at Prevnar20.com. Prevnar 20 is approved for adults to help prevent infections from 20 strains of the bacteria that cause pneumococcal pneumonia. Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you've had a severe allergic reaction to the vaccine or its ingredients. Adults with weakened immune systems may have a lower response to the vaccine. The most commonly reported side effect was pain at the injection site. For additional common side effects and full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138 or visit Prevnar20.com.
O'Reilly! Replace your worn-out wiper blades and see the road better with help from O'Reilly Auto Parts. Right now, save $10 on a pair of Trico Force wiper blades. Old Rewards members get 4 times points and receive a $5 reward with purchase. Our professional parts people will even install your new wiper blades for free. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts or visit O'ReillyAuto.com.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
The following is a message from the future, sent by Jamie from Progressive.
Back in 2023, you could get help from Progressive online, through our mobile app, or over the phone. But here, in the future, you'll be able to chat with us from space. Maybe you're asking, why are you spending time on insurance in space? Shouldn't you be sculpting something out of moon rocks or jumping around with no gravity? Insurance seems more like a back on Earth kind of thing, right? Actually, in the future, space is no big deal. Errands are totally appropriate.
That was a message from the future. Get the help you need today with Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers.
Welcome back to the Lowdown Hoedown. I'm Brother Greg Martin. 725, 55 springtime degrees here in Bolling Green, Kentucky. Clear skies. Lowdown Hoedown brought to you by the Lindsay Production Group. And a big thanks to Tony Lindsay. Brother Tony Lindsay. And he was a big part of the Concert Jam Homemade Jam last night. Him and Bad Navigator, we had such a great time. We'll talk more about that as we go on tonight. A big thanks to Ernie Small and Wilma and so many good folks that got involved last night. Man, still reeling from that. Also, bringing you the Lowdown Hoedown melodies and memories on the square, the mellow mushroom for you that have the munchies out there. I know who you are. We have a psychedelic snack just for you tonight. All Things Guitar Lesson Studio and Stocktone Custom Shop. I'm Brother Greg Martin, and now we're going back to 1970 to the debut of Glass Harp, featuring Phil Keaggy on guitars, vocals, John Safara on drums, vocals, and guitars, Dan Pecchio, bass, vocals, and flute. This is Changes in the Heart of My Own True Love. You listen to Lowdown Hoedown, D93, Bolling Green's classic rock.
Hey now, this is Billy F. Gibbons right here, and you're listening right now to Greg Martin's Lowdown Hoedown on D93 right here in Bolling Green.
Just a head that I picked up all things that come your way. Away from the noise and the madness. All you have to do is pray. I thank the Lord for everything, but more than that, believe in His word, and you can find peace and happiness.
Glass Harp here on the Lowdown Hoedown D93, Bolling Green's classic rock from the 1970 debut on Decca Records. Titled Glass Harp, and recorded at Electric Lady Studios in New York, produced by Louis Bernstein. Phil Keaggy, John Safara, Daniel Pecchio. Just heard Look in the Sky, Village Queen, and Changes in the Heart of My Own True Love. And we got more Glass Harp coming up here in a bit. We've got music coming up next from the 1971 release Synergy, which is one of my favorites. Let's take care of some business, and we'll be back with more Lowdown Hoedown here on D93, Bolling Green's classic rock.
What do you guys think about your first visit to Mellow Mushroom?
Good pizza, good salads. I like the sandwiches. Good atmosphere.
I've got two boys, ages 8 and 6, and they love to come here. They think it's a lot of fun.
I've basically come to Mellow Mushroom. It's convenient. I've worked downtown. It's a fun atmosphere.
I like the hoagie the best. I'm a vegetarian, so I like the tofu.
I don't know what it is in the ingredients. It just tastes better, and they have fabulous service.
I really like their beer. It's crafty, and they have a wide selection.
The Mellow Mushroom. Visit us at the corner of Chestnut and 11th Avenue in Bowling Green.
Are you looking for the perfect sound? Then look no further than Stocktone Custom Shop, specializing in custom handmade in the USA guitar and bass pickups. The Stocktone Custom Shop can create all the great iconic guitar and bass pickups of the past. They can also clone your favorite vintage pickups so you can get that old school sound out of any instrument. They also rewind, restore, and repair vintage pickups. Call 765-524-3966 or check out the Stocktone Custom Shop Facebook page. Get the sound you've always been looking for with the Stocktone Custom Shop.
Hi, I'm Greg Martin. I want to tell you about my friends at All Things Guitar Lesson Studio. They do it all. Sales, consignments, repairs, and of course, lessons. All Things Guitar was voted best instruction and lessons facility in town. And no wonder, because they provide top quality guitar, piano, bass, mandolin, banjo, and uke lessons. With Eric Self, Dave Allen, Misty Butler, and David Tuck, you'll learn from the best. They put their over 25 years of experience to work to customize the lessons to fit the needs of each student. All Things Guitar is also a proud dealer of Little Walter amps. Plus, they do consignments and repairs. So give them a call today at 270-670-9422. All Things Guitar Lesson Studio in Deemer's Florist Shopping Center on Lehman Avenue. Call 270-670-9422. All Things Guitar Lesson Studio. 270-670-9422.
At Metal Supermarkets, we're here so you can get a bigger boat. How so? We're the one-stop shop for metal, which means you can get any metal, cut to any size, ready real fast, saving you valuable time to convince your other half why a twin-engine center console makes sense for you and your entire family. Happy fishing, soldier. Metal Supermarkets. Order online at metalsupermarkets.com.
Wait, aren't these all charitable donations?
At Magda's Tax Prep, every person counts.
I'd rather not have to file for an extension.
She needs new auditors to maximize returns on her family time.
On itemized deductions. Hey, can someone help with these 1099s?
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Our hiring platform instantly connects you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Feeling boxed in by cable? Now's the time to break free from that overpriced TV bill and switch to Philo. With Philo, you'll get 70-plus channels live and on demand, plus an unlimited DVR, all for just $25 a month. You'll get the same channels you love, like AMC, Discovery, Hallmark Channel, Lifetime, MTV, Nickelodeon, TLC, VH1, and more, all for a fraction of the cost of cable. And the unlimited DVR lets you save tons of your favorite movies and shows for a year, so you can catch up on your schedule. That's endless entertainment at your fingertips. Best of all, switching to Philo could save you hundreds of dollars a year on your TV bill, making cutting the cord a no-brainer decision. You can even try Philo free for the first week, and because there's no contract, you can cancel at any time. But you probably won't, because who doesn't love saving money? So think outside the box and stay within your budget. Sign up with Philo today. It's super easy and takes way less time than calling your cable company to cancel your subscription. Visit philo.tv/cutthecord to get started today.
Music, music, and more music. Melodies and Memories is the largest record store around, offering hundreds of new and pre-owned records, CDs, and more. Need a way to play those tunes? Climb their Stairway to Heaven to an incredible selection of vintage stereo equipment. Into band t-shirts? Over 5,000 in stock. How about pop culture? They have the largest selection of videos, games, consoles, posters, and more. Open 10 to 9, Tuesday through Saturday in downtown Bolling Green, next to Candlemakers on the Square. Melodies and Memories, BG's largest store for all things music and memorabilia.
Mic check, 1, 2, 3, check, 1, 2, 3.
From small clubs to concert venues to outdoor festivals, the Lindsay Production Group stands ready to help with all your production needs. At Lindsay Production Group, their team of production experts can create an event that offers the best audience experience ever. Concerts, festivals, political events, church events, and more. Lindsay Production Group is here to make your event an occasion to remember. Their aim is to make things move as seamless as possible, and they've set the bar for event production companies in this area. Concert touring can be highly stressful, and the crew at Lindsay Production Group has been trusted by local favorites like the Kentucky Headhunters, Sam Bush, Webb Wilder, and more. So when you need staging and production at your event, it's time to call the best. Lindsay Production Group. Sound, stage, lights, they do it all. Call 270-799-1718. That's 270-799-1718.
That's a wrap.
Is that apple pie? No? Pecan waffles, maybe? Blueberries? Okay, now I'm hungry. Candlemakers on the Square. Wow, what an amazing selection of candles. And no, it's not just candles. They have local products, quality CBD oils, gifts, art, and more, and all at great prices.
Candlemakers on the Square goes way beyond candles. They're Kentucky proud. They offer all locally made products and gifts and is the original store for Kentucky-produced CBD oils. Candlemakers on the Square. They're more than just candles.
I studied Spanish in college and never got fluent, but then I tried Babbel.
Want the most effective way to learn another language? In just 15 minutes a day, Babbel's bite-sized lessons will have you learning another language in as little as 3 weeks.
Babbel is all conversation-based, so it gets you speaking quickly about things you actually talk about in the real world.
You'll really see a difference in how you can speak and how conversational you can be in just a few weeks.
Babbel isn't just lessons. You can listen to podcasts, play games, watch videos. You can even take live online classes with a language teacher. There are so many ways to learn with Babbel.
The lessons online and in the app make it easy to learn from pretty much anywhere.
University studies have shown that using Babbel for 15 hours is equivalent to a semester of college Spanish. If you want to learn a new language, there's no better way than Babbel. Go to Babbel.com to try for free. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to 4hims.com/joy. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the name brands at up to 95% off. That's right, get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but for 95% less. It's the same medication, still prescribed by a licensed medical provider, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, 4hims.com/joy. That's 4hims.com/joy for your free online visit. FORHIMS.com/JOY.
Welcome back to the Lowdown Hoedown. I am Brother Greg Martin. How you doing out there? Hope all is well. And we are featuring some great old glass harp tonight, one of my favorite groups, and featuring one of my favorite guitarists, Mr. Phil Keaggy. Now we're jumping to their second official album on Decca in 1971, and there was some demos cut before the first album, which we'll talk about later on, that have been recently released by Peppermint Records. But let's get to the second official album, Synergy. And it was released, somehow I missed it when it first came out in 1971. I bought it at the Doo-Wop Shop in Louisville in May of 72, I believe. And the album kicks off with One Day at a Time, One day at a time, with its failures and fears, with its hurts and mistakes and its weaknesses and tears, with portions of pain and burden of care, one day at a time, we must meet and must bear. It touched me when I first heard it, and I love this song. One day at a time, Glass Harp from Synergy back in 1971. Here on the Lowdown Hoedown, D93, Bolling Green's classic rock.
One day at a time, with its failures and fears, with its hurts and mistakes and its weakness and tears, with portion of pain and burden of care. One day at a time, we must meet and must bear. Tell me that
That's a good thing. It's the Lowdown Hoedown on WDNS Bolling Green D93.
These are my special
From vintage tones to low-down moans. We've got the blues. Get that barbecue out and brew a fresh pot of coffee. It's time for the Lowdown Hoedown with Greg Martin on Bolling Green's classic rock, D93.
Mountains above the clouds don't leave us in despair. If you hear our voices loud, you'll surely find us there. The path takes us up above to help us find our way. You can see that we're in love with your tomorrow So if our lives come down below the surface near, the sun is still up high. That leaves us with our feet. And still the clouds below our mission if we're late. 'Cause even though we're slow, the mountains will So if our lives come down below the surface near, the sun is still up high. That leaves us with our The search for happiness and purpose in life is more intense than ever. I've searched, you've searched, we've run in the night and still felt together. In word and song I sing along, a song to be sung with you. I found the way,
Glass Harp here on the Lowdown Hoedown, D93, Bolling Green's classic rock from the 1971 release Synergy. Dawn of a New Day, The Answer, Mountains, Song of Hope, Special Friends, Never Is a Long Time, One Day at a Time. And what a great album that is. Let's take care of some business, and I believe Brother Phil will be calling here in just a minute here on the Lowdown Hoedown, D93, Bolling Green's classic rock.
Mic check. 1, 2, 3. Check, check, check. 1, 2, 3.
From small clubs to concert venues to outdoor festivals, the Lindsay Production Group stands ready to help with all your production needs. At Lindsay Production Group, their team of production experts can create an event that offers the best audience experience ever. Concerts, festivals, political events, church events, and more. Lindsay Production Group is here to make your event an occasion to remember. Their aim is to make things move as seamless as possible, and they've set the bar for event production companies in this area. Concert touring can be highly stressful, and the crew at Lindsay Production Group has been trusted by local favorites like the Kentucky HEADHUNTES, Sam Bush, Webb Wilder, and more. So when you need staging and production at your event, it's time to call the best. Lindsay Production Group. Sound, stage, lights, they do it all. Call 270-799-1718. That's 270-799-1718.
That's a wrap.
Hi, I'm Greg Martin. I want to tell you about my friends at All Things Guitar Lesson Studio. They do it all. Sales, consignments, repairs, and of course, lessons. All Things Guitar was voted best instruction and lessons facility in town. And no wonder, because they provide top quality guitar, piano, bass, mandolin, banjo, and uke lessons. With Eric Self, Dave Allen, Misty Butler, and David Tuck, you'll learn from the best. They put their over 25 years of experience to work to customize the lessons to fit the needs of each student. All Things Guitar is also a proud dealer of Little Walter amps. Plus, they do consignments and repairs. So give them a call today at 270-670-9422. All Things Guitar Lesson Studio in Deemer's Florist Shopping Center on Lehman Avenue. Call 270-670-9422. All Things Guitar Lesson Studio. 270-670-9422.
Get in zone, AutoZone. Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Starting trouble. No one likes that. We can get you set up for some stronger starts. You might just need a fresh charge, and we can take care of that free of charge. But if it is time for a new battery, we've got replacement batteries that'll fit your needs, starting at just $79.99. That's what makes us America's #1 battery destination. Get in zone, AutoZone. Restrictions apply.
Progressive presents an ad from Mom.
What does it say here? Bundle your home and auto insurance with Progressive and get protection round the clock. You know what? I'm sorry. I think it should be around. What are you signaling? Me to stop talking? Oh, all right. I'll stop talking. No, just had to tell me. That's all you had.
Get round-the-clock protection when you bundle and save with Progressive. It's easier than getting your mom to make this radio ad. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Discount not available in all states or situations.
When you're an innovative business, every blinking cursor, every blank page is an opportunity. What will you do with it? Will you make something better or create something new? Our Dell Technologies advisors provide you with tools and expertise to do incredible things. Because we believe there's an innovator in all of us. For advice on smart PCs powered by Intel V Pro that's built for business, call a Dell Technologies advisor at 877-ASK-DELL.
At Metal Supermarkets, we're all about getting you and your crew to quit in time sooner. That's why our service is a cut above. You see, no matter the project, we'll get you to the right metal, shape, and grade. Cut to any size, ready real fast. And yeah, we'll deliver. Leaving plenty of time for the important things, like opening an ice-cold can of aluminum. Metal Supermarkets. Order online at metalsupermarkets.com.
Hey, welcome back to the Lowdown Hoedown. This is Brother Greg Martin, and we're still waiting for Phil to call, but I'm sure he will here in a minute. So we'll just continue with some music, and let's just jump ahead to the third album by Glass Harp from 1972. It Makes Me Glad. This is Sailing on a River. You listen to Lowdown Hoedown, D93, Bolling Green's classic rock. Glass Harp here on the Lowdown Hoedown, D93 Bolling Green's classic rock from the 1972 release that makes me glad, Sailing on a River. And who is that guitar player on there? Who is it?
I don't know. I don't know. Who is that guy? Who is that guy?
It's you, Phil Keaggy. What are you doing, man?
Well, I was listening to that track with you and saying, oh, that's a young fella. That's a young fella named Phil. And now I'm an old fella named Phil. And I'm grateful and content. I'm grateful for those years. I love my brothers, Daniel Pecchio, John Safara, Glass Harp, Louis Mernstein, the great producer, who worked so hard to make us such a young band, try to be disciplined and creative in the studio. And I think we did a pretty good job considering we loved to play, but we did not like to practice much.
Well, back then...
you get that?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, back then, there was a lot of practicing on stage, weren't there? A lot of jamming?
A lot of jamming, a lot of experimentation.
Yes, sir.
You know, because Daniel and John, you know, as a bass, and Daniel is bass player and John is, you know, drummer. Mm-hmm. Both phenomenal players.
Oh, absolutely.
They let me have all this room to create the chordal thing, and the I think I did a lot of the driving of the melodic part of the group, but John and Daniel provided the groove part of the group, you know, and I think we were a great team together, a great team of three players.
You absolutely were. It's a great three-piece band, and not just a you know, there was three-piece bands out there at the time. You know, Cream, you and I love Cream, and we've talked about that. And there was other groups like, you know, Hendrix and Blue Cheer, but you guys were drawing from different influences. Phil, as I've gotten older, and I don't know if he had a bearing on your playing, but I could hear Chet Atkins in your playing back then. Well, you know, I love Chet Atkins. I was amazed by his tone and his ability to play as he did with his style. And but the thing was, you know, I was probably, being from Ohio, I think I was influenced by a lot of the stuff that was more mainstream at the time. Sure. You know, I mean, I've lived in Nashville for almost 34 years now, and I've met Chet Atkins, and I've been to his house a couple times, and he was so gracious and so complimentary of my guitar playing. I just couldn't believe it. You know, he just paid me such a sweet compliment on my style, and he said, "Phil, you create a great atmosphere with your guitar playing." And so what did I try to do? Create a great atmosphere. And Bern thought, my wife Bernadette thought, so why are you spending so much time tuning up? I said, no, I wasn't tuning up. I was trying to play, I was trying to create a great atmosphere with my music. Right. But, you know, the thing is, right after Chet paid me that compliment, I was on stage, and I was so nervous because he paid me such a compliment. Sure. But I thought, I got to live up to this compliment. And what did I do? I just kind of dug myself into a hole. But you know, he was gracious. You know, he always encouraged young guitar players. Yes, he did. He really did. He was a great man, a great producer too. Absolutely. And the things I heard, it's just me. When I listen back to this early, some chordal things like in melodies. And when I was listening to your first solo album, you know, What a Day, I just hear these chord things. I go, that kind of sound like Chet a little bit. And maybe you weren't listening to Chet, but I could. It was just something going on there that reminded, you know, in the lead playing, we have a mutual love for Michael Bloomfield and, of course, Eric Clapton, and we can talk about that. But when I hear one note from you, Phil, I know it's you, and that's the beautiful thing about your playing. that God gave you a DNA in your finger, and it's there. When I hear it, man, I know who you are. And I think I've told you 50 times before. When I first heard about you, I was hanging out in Louisville with some old friends, and they said, man, we saw this band in Cincinnati. I guess they were talking about Ludlow Garage, and they're called Glass Harp.
Yeah.
And the guitar player sounded like a violin player, and they're three-piece, and I thought, man, I got to know about these guys, and I'm living down in South Central Kentucky. We didn't hear about you till a little bit later, but then when I finally heard that little 45 of Children's Fantasy and Village Queen, I went, oh, yeah, man, I love this band. And of course, at the time, I didn't realize your love for Bloomfield, but we'll talk about that. But the cool thing is, you have your own thing, and it grew. When you go back and listen to the album that was just released, The Glass Harp, Where Did My World Come From? There's some amazing things for, how old were you, Phil? 16, 17 or something? I don't know.
I think I was 17 when we did that first demo album.
Yeah.
And, I was very ambitious as a guitar player.
Sure.
I had a Les Paul because of Mike Bloomfield. I got a Les Paul Custom, and then eventually I got a Les Paul Sunburst, 1960. And, he was such an inspiration because guitar players like Mike Bloomfield and Joe Walsh and Peter Frampton and Eric Clapton, these guys, because of their style, they said to me, musically, they said, just relax. Say something with your guitar playing. Try to say something.
Yeah.
Because if you listen to that Glass Harp demo album we did that's been released, called Where Did My World Come From? You could tell that I'm just a young teenager trying to play as many notes as I can.
Yeah.
But I was onto a good path.
Yeah.
And but then what happened to me was a miracle took place in my life.
Yeah.
And in 1970, I had a tragic thing happen in my life. I lost my mom in a car accident, and she died a week after the accident. And then my older sister led me to faith in Jesus Christ. And from that point on, from February 1970 to September, when we started recording the first Glass Harp album, my life had changed so much, and so did my musicality.
Yeah.
The way I began to play the guitar, all of a sudden there was a peace in my playing. There was I wanted to say something with every note, And I was still young. I was still a teenager at the time. I was still 19 at the time. But I had grown up so much because of the Lord's good mercy in my life. And I think he led me on a straight path. And I'm grateful for that experience that I had, even to this day, Greg, really.
I know you are. You've been such a mentor, influence on me spiritually.
Oh,
you have. When I met you the first time, I was a prodigal a little bit. And folks, I'm around Phil, and I meet Phil through our dear friend Neil Williams. And I don't know if you remember this, Phil. I came to your house and visited with you and Bernadette. And Headhunters were going through some rough times at the time, and the music business had kind of, it eat me up and spit me out and did all kind of craziness. But I'm going, man, Phil is so at peace with where he's at. And the Lord spoke to me and said, well, it's because of me, the Holy Spirit.
Yeah.
And it wasn't very long that I got back on the right path. And one of the things I remember, Phil, after hearing about Glass Harp and you, I picked up a Song Hits magazine or a hit parader, and there was the little picture of you guys outside, and you actually talk about how the Lord had given your playing direction. I don't know if you remember that little article, but and it really intrigued me because at the time I was playing gospel music in little churches, and I'm going, you mean you can actually turn up in a church and wiggle a string around and play from your heart, and you know, and and it planted a seed. But I think it's where you went when I listened to Where Did My World Come From? Your vibrato hadn't developed yet, you know.
I had the spastic vibrato, didn't I? It was so strange.
Me too.
I didn't know what was I trying to do. I was trying to be Bloomfield, Jim McCarty. I was trying to be that fast quiver, that fast vibrato.
Sure.
But it wasn't natural. It wasn't relaxed until, you know, after I felt like when I knew I was born again.
Yeah.
And then I said, just relax. And I want to tell you that players like Eric Clapton, Peter Frampton, Joe Walsh, and Michael Bloomfield, they taught me how to just play something from your heart and don't strive. So what happened was I ceased from striving. The Bible actually says, cease striving and know that I am God. Mm-hmm. And I think because God came into my life and I had a personal relationship with Jesus Christ, that he said, not audibly, but I just felt it in my heart of hearts that I could be who I am. I could be Phil Keaggy, the short guy with 9 fingers, that just loves music. I love music. I love all my influences, all my heroes. And they've all affected my life, from Dwayne Eddy, Chet Atkins, George Harrison, Nookie Edwards, James Burton. I mean, so many great guitar players that influenced my life. And but then I realized that I had my own sound developing, and that was a very, very beautiful thing.
Absolutely. You do. You have your own, your DNA. You could pick up anybody's guitar. And I've seen you go from, you know, when you came up to the studio at Glasgow a few years back and we put you through 2 or 3 amps. I'm going, well, they all sound like Phil, but when you got onto a Fender, I can't remember if it was a Super Reverb or whatever it was, you know, then I go, well, that's the Phil I really know right there, you know. I think we were trying to plug you into Marshalls and everything, you know, but it was still there. But, you know, but it comes from your heart of hearts to your fingertips, man, to your DNA. It's just there.
Well, if you remember the Glass Harp live at Carnegie Hall.
Yes.
I mean, I had my Les Paul, my 71 Deluxe, with humbucker pickups put in it by Virgil Way. Yeah. And I was up there playing on that concert, and I didn't have any pedals except for the tremolo and the reverb pedals for the amps itself. But John Markovich had souped up my twin reverbs, and they had the best sound. I mean, those amps sounded so good with just a guitar, no pedals in between except for the reverb and tremolo.
Sure.
And it just allowed me to express my dynamics through my volume control. You know, my volume control and my pickup selection switch on my Les Paul were always active and always moving and always involved in my sound. And then what I wanted to speak through my guitar, my voice, which I think is my number one voice. My guitar playing is really my number one voice. My vocal voice is always been secondary to my guitar playing, although I'm grateful for the songs that I felt inspired to write over the years, from, you know, What a Day to Love Broke Through, you know, Emerging.
Yeah. Yes, I love those albums. Phil, well, I didn't, and I'm ashamed to tell you, after Glass Harp, I kind of lost track of you for a bit. And, you know, I didn't hear What a Day at first, when it first came out. I wished I had of. I love that album. There is such a spirit on that album. There's such a...
You know,
I love it.
I agree. You know, that album to me is, if I could use the word anointed...
I believe it.
I think of all the albums I've done, and I've done dozens, I think What a Day is the most spiritual album I've ever made. Really, I do. Because I've gotten letters from people who said, you know, a friend of mine said, you've got to listen to this album. And they were, like, depressed. They were downtrodden. They were so lonely. They were so without hope and without any ambition to live. And they'd say, I'd listened to this album and it touched my heart in such a deep way. Thing is, when I heard the mixes of the album itself back when I was just, I guess, 1973, I was 22. When I heard the album and I listened to the mixes, it used to touch me too, as if I was somebody else, you know, not myself. I remember how that album touched my soul, my spirit. And the engineer, Gary Hedden, who recorded that album, it was just he and I in the studio over a week's time.
Wow.
And Gary became a Christian. He became a believer because a couple of miracles happened throughout the recording of that album that happened in the studio. And so I think that album, which is like this year is the 50th anniversary of What a Day, to me that album is so sweet and so special. And there's such an innocence about it. I mean, I'm young. I'm not very professional. But I played all the instruments. I sang all the vocals. But there was something spiritual about that album. And if you get a chance, just listen to it, you know.
Phil, I listen to it.
I think it could really touch your heart.
I listen to it every week. There's 2 albums.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, I do. I've listened to it today and yesterday. I've got it in my, matter of fact, it's in my hand right now, the CD version of it with Love Broke Through, which is a great album too, but there's something about that first album that has just touched me. And let me tell you, when Ruth and I first married in 1979, there was a little Bible bookstore about 2 blocks from where we lived in Glasgow, and I went over there one day, and there the album was. And I picked it up. I didn't get it till 1979. I didn't, the first vinyl copy of it. I missed it somehow, you know. And but I love that album. I'll tell you that album and Pet Sounds are both albums that just touch my heart. Those 2 right there.
Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness!
Yeah.
Gee whiz. What company? You put me in such great company. Thank you.
Well, man, I mean it from my heart. And I wrote a big essay on Pet Sounds for Vintage Guitar Magazine a few years ago, but I really want to write one about your album, and I will, because it touched me.
Thank you.
Brian Wilson, their album was spiritual too, but I think they were searching. You know, I don't know. I know that Brian was going through a lot of stuff at the time, but your album, the Holy Spirit is all over it. You know, man. He was directing. He was producing. You know, and it's just beautiful.
I think so.
Yeah.
Well, you know, side 1 is a proclamation. If you go from, that is what the Lord will do for you through Rejoice.
Yeah.
That's a proclamation of the gospel. And side 2, which starts with What a Day and ends with I Will Sing, that's like, now you're in the presence of the Lord. Yeah. And it really happened. I mean, it really happened. 2 weeks after the album was finished, Gary Hedden, my engineer, brilliant engineer, brilliant man.
Yeah.
He called me up and he said, Phil, I got to tell you, I just heard the Lord's voice tell me it's time. Just give me your heart, you know.
That's amazing.
And he did. And it was because of that project. So I have such an amazing memory of that time. I was a young man with hair, with a beard, and you know, just this love for Jesus, and because of my relationship with Jesus, I got to meet a young lady. Her name is Bernadette.
Yes.
And I met her when she was 15, and I led her to the Lord when she was just, 16. And then she became my wife when she was 18. And we're going on 50 years of marriage this summer. And
that's amazing.
Years,
Congratulations. That's beautiful.
Yeah, and she's been with me through every step of the way, every album, every song, and such a great support to what I've done. But I have so many people to be thankful for. I mean, so many people.
Yeah.
I'm so grateful for the influences in my life.
Yeah.
And, some of those people weren't Christians, but they were gifted by God. Mm-hmm. And I acknowledge that. And, of course, God loved every one of those people, too.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
I was listening to a interview with Buck Herring recently. I think it was or Matthew Ward or Annie, and it was on YouTube, and they flashed a picture of you and Bernadette when you were y'all must have just had been married long, and you're both reading the Bible. You're both reading the Bible. It's the sweetest picture. I think it's when you were on the road with Second Chapter. You were out there on that How the West Was Won tour, I guess. And I missed that too. But I want to backtrack just a minute, because as much I love Glass Harp, I know there was a lot going on in your life before you met Jesus, and I'm sure you were searching. I'm sure you were.
I was searching as a youngster, and I really, really wanted to know God. I really did. My mom was such a wonderful influence in my life. She was so encouraging to me musically. When I was just in the 7th grade, she would say, she called me Petey, Petey, oh, sing for me a song. Just sing for me. And I would sing for her. I had my electric guitar and my little amp, my little deluxe amp, and I would sing and play for her, and she would encourage me. And my dad would encourage me, too, as well. And, I grew up with a lot of encouragement. My brother Dave bought me my first electric guitar. And then Brother Dave was always a great encouragement to me. And we were close up until just, when he passed away last year, we were still close in touch with each other. But, I came from a very musical family. My oldest sister, Mary Ellen, was an actress and a singer, beautiful voice. And she actually was the one who led me to the Lord. We as a Keaggy family, we were lovers of music. And I was so fortunate to grow up in that time. Absolutely.
Yeah, and then our era of rock, come on. Chuck Berry and Little Richard, but then 64, we hear the gunshot from the UK, the Beatles and then the Stones, and of course then we hear Bob Dylan and the Beach Boys, Brian Wilson and all the great music, and then we start noticing Jeff Beck, with the Yardbirds, these weird guitar sounds coming through, and then all of a sudden here's Hendrix and Cream and then Bloomfield, but I'm just talking about overall the musicality, the writing. What do you make of it?
Yeah, what do you make of it? Honestly, Greg, when you think of the 60s and what a creative time that was, and I know I'm 72. I don't know how old you are.
70. Just walked through the arches March 31st. We had birthdays real close together.
Oh, happy belated birthday, brother.
You too. I sent you a message. I'm not sure if you got it or not, but I missed it by a day, but happy birthday to you too. Belated,
Oh, thank you. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's hard to believe I'm 72 because mentally I still feel like a young person, but then I get up in the morning and I look in the mirror and I go, Yeah, I remember you. You look sort of like somebody I knew.
I know, man.
But I look at my son Ian, who's 35.
Oh, yeah.
and he looks like me in the 70s, in the 80s. And I love that boy.
I know you do.
He's a good son. And he's such a blessing to my life and Bernadette's life. And we have 2 daughters, too, who are such sweethearts.
Yes, you do.
But, you know, Ian he's quite a good musician himself, a good writer, good producer. And I really appreciate his ears. But he learned a bit from me back when he was a teenager.
He did?
When he said, Pops, I think I want to be a guitar player. I said, okay, I'm going to teach you. And he said, but I don't want to learn any bar chords. They're too hard. I said, no, you'll be okay. I'll show you the bar chords.
He played some drums, too, right? A little bit early on?
Oh, yeah. He could play everything.
I know, man.
And in fact, on the 220 album from 1995, there's a tune called Ian's Groove.
That's right.
Where he was playing the bum cap, cap, bum cap, bum cap, and I just looped it, you know, with my Jam Man, which I got because of Chet Atkins, and I just looped his drums, and I created a whole song around it called Ian's Groove. And he was just 3 years old. Can you believe it? You know.
I remember that. I love that album. Man. I love it. Is that the album I tried to loan you a Les Paul on? And I think it was the neck was kind of messed up on it. It was too big or something. Do you remember that? I think you're actually holding the Les Paul. Is that the album you're holding the Les Paul on the back of the cover? On the back cover, you got sunglasses and a beret, and you're holding a Les Paul. I think it's my Les Paul. I sent it down to you. But I don't think it.
Oh.
I got it back, of course. But
I remember that picture. I do remember that picture, and I don't know if it got on the cover because I think on the cover or on the back of the cover there was a Parker Fly guitar.
That's right. You're right. You're right. There's a picture though.
Yes, there was a picture of me with your Les Paul. Yes.
I'd love to have a copy of that. I'll find that. It's somewhere because I saw it. And Neil Williams knows where it's at.
Oh, God bless you, Neil.
Yeah, we love Neil.
Help us out, buddy. Help us out.
I'd like to have a picture of that. I'd like to have a picture of that.
You know, I'd like to say something about Neil Williams.
Yes.
Neil, you know, I met Neil when he was just a youngster. I'm not sure how many years younger than he is from me, but I shared the Lord with him in August of 1970 back in the backyard of Packard Music Hall. I think it was 1970 in August. And I sang The Answer for him.
That's right, he told me.
It touched his heart. It really touched his heart. And he has been one of the greatest supporters of my music as well as Glass Harp's music over the years. And he has such a love and appreciation. And I just want to say thank you, Neil, for all your support over all the years. Thank you, buddy. Thank you so much.
I love Neil, too. And Neil told me the story about you singing The Answer to him. He's told me that.
Did he? Did he?
Mm-hmm. Yes, he has.
Yeah.
Yes.
And, you know, the song is so simple, you know, and I'm not a great singer. I've never been a great singer. My first instrument is my guitar playing, but I wanted to sing about the Lord, and I wanted to sing about the things that matter in life, my family, faith, loyalty, goodness, mercy, truth, the best I could.
I think you sing great. I've always loved your voice, but you know, I beg to differ with you on that, but I'm not going to disagree with Phil Keaggy. I mean, no, what I'm saying is I love your voice. I don't want to. Yeah, I think your voice is wonderful. You know.
Well, you know, it's interesting because you know I'm still singing. I recorded a couple songs this week, and my voice is. I mean, I can hit the notes, but I sound definitely older, and the gentler bits, you know, don't come as easy. And I think that's what happens when you get older, you know. And But I mean, I can still hit the high notes, but it's the gentle lower notes that I wish I had that pure tone. But, you know, that's what happens when you get older. You lose those pure tones, you know.
You have such a good vibrato in your voice, though. I just can't find my vibrato in my voice, and it just keeps me from wanting to sing that much. The pitch is there, kind of, but you must have developed that vibrato early on in your voice. It was just there, right?
Maybe. Well, you could always plug a mic into a Princeton reverb and turn the vibrato up.
Yeah.
Happens, you know? Here's Greg Martin, vibrato, compliments of Fender Princeton reverb.
True. I guess, yeah, there you go, man. I guess I could do that. Yeah, but I love your...
Do you remember Tommy James and the Shondells? What was that song?
Crimson and Clover. Yeah. How about it's only words, and words are all I have. Still your heart away. Okay.
Oh my goodness.
The Bee Gees. I love the Bee Gees. You know.
Well, those early Bee Gees albums were life-changing. I mean, I remember when I was in the band called the Volume 4 New Hudson Extra, and our drummer, Bob Barbone, he said, "You've got to hear this album. It's called Bee Gees First." And it was beautiful. It was a beautiful album. It was great, you know, and it was loose, and it was very honest.
Yes.
And, it was their first album, and I love that early.
I do too. I do too. Hey, listen, and no disrespect to the disco era, if you took those songs they did in the disco era and you just did them acoustically, they stand on their own really well. You know, if you take away the disco drum beat, but those first Bee Gees, you know, like To Love Somebody, New York Mining Disaster. You know, words. I've got to get a message to you. To Love Somebody was actually written for Otis Redding. They wrote that for Otis Redding, and I don't know if he ever recorded it, but you know, but
to love somebody the way I love you.
Yes, I love that song. Yeah, that's wonderful.
Wow,
man.
Great stuff. You know, the '60s. There was so much creativity. 70s, too, as well.
There was, absolutely. And so I guess the Bloomfield influence happened, you know, because what I want to talk about a bit is the transition from Glass Harp into your solo years, because there was a great movement of the Lord going on at that time, not just in Costa Mesa and California, which we know Chuck Smith and what was going on out there, but it was going on everywhere, you know, and
it was going on everywhere, and no movie maker can cover the whole picture because the picture went from the West Coast to the East Coast, with Ohio in the middle and Kentucky in the middle, and Tennessee in the middle, and Alabama in the middle. I mean, I'm telling you, God was working. Touching people's hearts all over the country. It was a great revival.
It was.
It was a beautiful time. It was a beautiful time. And I think that we are on the verge of that kind of revival again.
I do too.
You know,
I feel it.
And it's not up to us. It's not up to us. It's up to God. It's up to the Holy Spirit.
Exactly.
And the thing is, I want everybody to know is that God, the creator of us all, He loves us. He loves us. He cares for us. He cares for our souls. He cares for our all the things that damage us. He cares about that stuff. He cares about our hurts and our failures. He cares about our depression. He cares about our loss of hope. You know, He cares about all that stuff. And if we call upon the name of the Lord, we can be saved.
Yeah.
And being saved is not about just salvation after this life. It means being rescued in this life, in this world.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I just think the gospel is the best news we've ever heard.
It's great.
You've got the mainstream news, but it's not good news. You know, it's not.
No.
It's so depressing.
Yeah.
But if you want good news, go to the Gospel of John. Go to the epistles of John. You know,
yes.
John 1, 2, and 3.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want good news about how much God loves you, just read those books. You know, the Gospel of John, 1st, 2nd, and 3rd John. And you'll understand that God loves us with an everlasting love. It's so good. It's so good. It's so good. It's so good.
Absolutely. Phil, I know you read every day, but what is your favorite go-to? Do you like Proverbs, Psalms? What is your favorite go-to in the Bible? I
love the Psalm. I love the Psalms because the Psalms are so honest about despair and lament and hopelessness, and all of a sudden it turns right around because why be in despair, O my soul? Why be cast down? Hope in God, trust in God. He is the help of my salvation, and He puts my tears in a bottle. You know, He saves them. He understands our heartache. He understands our hurts. He understands our disappointments, our failures. And, you know, Jesus said, I came not to condemn the world, but to save the world. And so...
Absolutely.
I mean, honestly, it's really about His gift to us to care for us and love us and bring us through. And so I always lay my anchor down in the hope of Jesus, you know, because, you know, He's really been the everyday source of my joy, and He's helped me to live the life I've wanted to live. He's helped me to do that. He's helped me to love my wife better, to love my children better, to love my neighbors better.
Yes.
And I, you know, I'm not perfect. No way. I'm not perfect. But I do have a true relationship with my God.
Yes.
And He's a good God. He is good. He's good to us all.
Absolutely.
And so, but you know, the thing is, I know you love to talk about guitars.
No, I'd love to hear you talk about the Lord too. Go ahead. I love it.
Oh yeah.
Hey, we wouldn't be playing guitar if it wasn't for the Lord, you know, Jesus, because He gave us that love, right? That's where it came from.
Absolutely, absolutely. Every good and perfect gift comes from the Father's light.
Exactly.
You know, I was thinking about just light and darkness. And when we walk with the Lord, we live in the light. You know, we live in the light. And the thing about being, you know, even at my age, at 72 years old, if I walk in the light, everything is, I can experience all new things. I can experience new tones from my guitar.
Yes.
I can experience new melodies.
Yes.
I can experience new expression. And I can raise myself up to attain, okay, I can hit that note. I can sing that note. I'm going to sing that note.
Yeah.
By the glory of God, I can sing that note. And yeah, I do that because He gives us strength. I not only love music and my family, of course, even first, but I love my neighbors. I love my neighbors, and I love serving them in any way I can.
Yeah.
You know, it's more than the music. It's about living in life and loving. And
yes.
So yeah, you get that, don't you?
Absolutely, I get it 100%. And you've been such a good friend and planted some wonderful seeds back for many years. Even back when I didn't know you were planting seeds with me. You know, and I just owe so much to you, but because you led me to the Lord, back to the Lord, you know, many years ago. You really were a big reason, and I thank you. And I know there's a lot of people. I'm saying this over the air, folks. This is I consider Phil a dear friend, and I love his family. haven't seen Ian in a long time, and the girls have grown up now,
Oh, yeah.
I remember coming down your house many years ago. You and I sat in the living room, and we played some Michael Bloomfield blues together. And Bernadette said, "Okay, boys, now Phil, you got to go get the kids at school or something." I can't remember, but it was so much fun, man. Just we both have this love for Bloomfield, but there again, music gift and the love for music come from the Lord. It was a gift given to us, and we never forgot that, And
never forgot that. It's interesting, Greg, because when Glass Harp played in KSAN Radio in 1971 at KSAN Radio in San Francisco, we did a live simulcast, that went out on FM radio.
Sure.
And we opened up for Michael Bloomfield and his band. And Michael, he didn't realize that we were actually playing our actual set. And he came and he brought his guitar, put it up on the stage, thinking we were sound checking. And but we were just doing our set. And then afterward, the promoter said, "Would you like to jam with Phil?" And he declined. But I remember that I wanted to play my best Bloomfield that I could ever play. And I think on the Glass Harp Stark Raving Jams collection, which is on Glass Harp Bandcamp, there's something called California Jam or something like that.
Yeah.
That was from that date, that actual date. And, I really wanted to play with Michael, but he declined for some reason. But then 4 years later, or 3 years later, I was down in Florida playing on a Joe Vitale album. And I went walking about in the studio, Criteria Sound Studio, and I happened to notice that Michael Bloomfield was in one of the, Studio A down there.
Yeah.
And I had to go meet him, and I said, "Excuse me, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I had to say hello. My name's Phil Keaggy. I played with Glass Harp. We opened up for you 3 years ago in San Francisco." And he said, "Yeah, man, I remember you. You're that little guy that played his A off."
I love that.
Hey, he said, you're that little guy that played his ass off.
I think, you probably scared him, I guess.
No, I don't know what happened, but I was such a student of Michael playing at that time. And
yes,
I remember. Have you ever heard any of that recording? Any of those recordings?
You talking about the Stark Raving Jams?
Yeah.
I think I've got. Yes, I've got that. Sure.
I think it was called California Jam.
I'm not sure if I've got it with me or not. Wait a minute, hang on. Maybe I do. Bear with me, people.
That was the very night that I opened up for Michael, and of course he was my guitar hero.
Yes.
I elevated him above everybody at that time. He was my favorite guitar player.
Well, I missed
his tone.
Yeah. Yes. I missed the butter. Yes. I didn't catch the Butterfield years, Phil. But I first, I kept reading about, there again, growing up in Edmonton, Kentucky, we didn't hear things like that on the radio. And I started reading in Hit Parader about the electric flag. And I'm going, and here's this guy playing a Les Paul Sunburst. Of course, initially playing a P90 Les Paul. And I'm going, oh, man, because I've seen John Sebastian with Spoonful playing a Sunburst Les Paul, which I thought, oh, those are cool guitars. But then when I got Electric Flag and Super Session, and I hear that, I'm going, oh, I like the sound. And
okay, so let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Can I ask you this?
Yes.
So Super Session was the humbuckers, PAS, right?
Yes. Yes.
But are you talking about like on Another Country, on Electric Flag, Another Country? Was that his Les Paul with the P90s? Was that?
I really think that's humbuckers. I think those humbuckers were not really wound. I don't think they're really overwound, and I believe he had it on the middle position.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
The middle position. I mean, unless there's somebody can verify he was using because in the early days of the Flag, he did have the Dan Erlewine P90 equipped guitar, and let's see, okay, the story is Michael was famous. He started playing the Telecaster, and everybody started grabbing Tellies. Then he gets the gold top, and everybody starts grabbing gold tops. And then Bloomfield trades Dan the gold top and a few bucks for the Sunburst Les Paul. But listen, but think about this. When they played Monterey, he was using the Sunburst Les Paul. And I don't think the album was completely done yet. And he did switch over to the Telecaster at Monterey. So I almost think the first album, the Electric Flag, I think both guitars are represented on there. I do. And maybe even there may be a tip. So I don't know, Phil. What do you think it's the P90s on that one?
Well, there is a certain tone on Another Country that doesn't necessarily sound.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds like there were two P90s on a. They could be. Top. And the tone was just amazing.
Yeah, I know.
His vibrato and his emotion, the emotion that he played just grabbed my soul. I have to say, it really grabbed my soul.
I know.
It really grabbed my soul. And I go, oh my goodness, this guy, he's my favorite.
Well,
he speaks to me. And then I was this little 17-year-old kid trying to play like him, but I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. But I tried. And eventually, like with a song like Stay Home Baby on All at Once,
Oh, yeah. We last time you were on the show, we talked about that because Al Cooper's on that, correct?
Yes, he is. Yes, he is.
Yes, I love that. You got that tone. Yeah. You jumped on that tone.
I got the tone. I think I got really close.
So what'd you do? Tell me what you did to get that. Did you go back to a Fender amp? I'm sure you went. Did you go? You surely did. Of some kind.
You're not going to believe it.
Okay.
I played my Les Paul with the humbuckers,
Yeah.
into a compressor.
Oh.
It was a true tone compressor at the time.
Okay.
With no overdrive into a Vox AC30.
Vox AC30.
Yeah, I got. There was no overdrive. It was just compression into a good tube amp like the AC30 Vox, and that's not what Bloomfield played through. He played through Fenders,
Yeah.
But I played through that Vox with a true tone compressor. Nowadays, I play through a Cali 76 compressor, which I love.
Wow.
I think
Okay.
it sounds so beautiful on clean stuff and overdrive stuff. It's just Cali 76. Check it out.
I will. Well, I can't believe because I've seen you play. We played together a few times at Dallas and different places, and you've played Voxes, usually at Dallas, I think. But now, during Glass Harp, you had the two twins we talked about earlier. I'm not sure what mods were done to those. I can't imagine that.
John Markovich was a genius. And,
okay.
After Glass Harp, he ended up being a great sound man for many people.
Okay.
In fact, he actually was the house sound man for Bjork tours around the world.
Okay.
So he became quite prominent as a house engineer, but he also was a genius. He knew how to fiddle with electronics, and he made my twin reverbs sound unbelievable. And I used to cover my twin reverbs with a blanket so that the stage volume wouldn't be too loud. And, but they tucked the mic inside the blankets, so that the soundman could get the sound of the amp.
Yeah.
But the stage volume was reduced. And that was my attenuator, the blankets over there.
Exactly. That was your master volume.
It was.
I saw a picture of you playing with Love Song which would have been a little bit later, and whatever amp you were using with those guys, there was a blanket over that as well.
It was just a deluxe reverb.
Deluxe, okay.
Amp,
Is that the album used on What a Day, too? Deluxe?
No, actually, I used a Princeton reverb.
Princeton
reverb.
Okay.
On my What a Day album.
It's got some sweet sounds.
Oh, yeah. You know what? The thing is, those Fender amps from the 60s had such great tones.
Yeah, beautiful tone.
Will McFarlane, he just loves his old Princeton reverb.
Yes, he does. Yes.
And when he plays through his Princeton reverb, it's like, oh, what a great tone.
Yeah,
and the sound of an amplifier can affect how you play.
Exactly.
If you got a great sounding amp, it's going to make you play better. It really is. Yeah.
I just want to backtrack a minute. You were talking about being in Miami, Florida. I think at Criteria Studios maybe a while ago. You played on Joe Vitale's Roller Coaster Weekend, didn't you?
I did.
That's the album, because I remember seeing that around �74, and I'm going, there's Phil Keaggy. He's still he's playing, but I didn't realize I missed out. I missed What a Day for some reason, but I was able to find Love Broke Through in '76, and then then about a year or two later I found '79 I found.
I'll tell you what happened. Sequence of events.
Okay, please, yeah.
April of 1974, I played on a Paul Clark album called Good to Be Home.
Yes.
No, it was Come Into His Presence.
Okay.
1974.
All right.
Come Into His Presence. And there was a tune on there called He'll Do the Same that Paul wrote. Mm-hmm. And I was playing my Les Paul into a super reverb with no pedals in between, and the tone was just beautiful.
Yeah.
It was like a Bloomfield thing. It's called
Sure.
He'll Do the Same. And then I was invited by Joe to come down to Florida and play on that album. And I have to tell you, Joe and I were always great friends, friends. But his producer said to me, you know, even when you play rock, you're too sweet. You played a little too sweet. So they just kept me on the sweet songs, the ballads. Then they brought Rick Derringer and Joe Walsh to play on the more rockin' stuff.
Yeah.
And that was the session that I went walking around, because I was a little depressed because I knew that I didn't quite make the grade.
Oh.
So that's when I saw Mike Bloomfield in that other studio, and I walked in and I said, hey, I don't know if you remember me.
Yeah.
Here I am. That was the same session, the Joe Vitale session. But I love Joe. Joe is a great writer, great.
Yes, I love that album, by the way. I love that album.
Yeah.
That's a great
album.
And I love the Barnstorm album, Smoker You Drink, what is it? Whatever. It's got Rocky Mountain Way on. I love that album. So there was, many years ago, did you know Ted Nugent at all back in the day? Did you ever meet Ted?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Go ahead.
Glass Harp opened up for Amboy Dukes about 2 or 3 times up in Detroit, and that's when I got the idea. Oh, I got to get some Electric Voice SRO speakers for my twin. So because of Ted Nugent, I bought these 4 Electric Voice SRO speakers for my 2 twin reverb amps. Mm-hmm. So I'd had 4 12-inch speakers. He was great. I just thought he was an amazing guitar player. And then that was 1969, probably 69.
Sure.
And then back in 86, I was on tour with the Brian Duncan tour I did with Brian Duncan. And we had a group. We were up in Detroit, and we were at a restaurant, and I noticed that Ted was in the corner of this restaurant, and when he passed by me, I stopped him. I said, "Excuse me, Ted? Hey, I'm Phil Keaggy. I don't know if you remember me." But my band Glass Harp opened up for you, many years ago.
Yeah.
And he slaps me on the back and he goes, "I remember Phil Keaggy, man, but I sure don't remember you." which is weird because I still had hair.
Golly.
And he actually sat down and he talked to me, and he was just joking.
Oh, okay.
He was very friendly.
Yeah.
He just wanted to mess with me.
Oh, no, that sounds like Ted. I've been one-on-one with Ted, and I've been with him in a room. He's more in a room with people. He will mess with you a little bit. Well, now I heard years ago that it was either Walsh or him wanted you to show him something. You said, "Well, can I share Jesus with you?" Is that true? I like it.
Probably.
Okay.
I mean, I just always wanted to share Jesus with my fellow musicians.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That was a highlight in my life. I mean, I felt really kind of complete when I would be able to play and play how I wanted to play and express myself as a guitarist.
Yes.
But I also wanted to express myself as a believer.
Yes.
And that was very important to me. Yeah.
Glenn Schwartz. Guitar Glenn, you knew him as well, right?
Not very well. I met him a couple times.
Oh, okay. I was just curious. I know he passed away about 4 or 5 years ago. He was with Pacific Gas and Electric, and he was with not Joe Walsh, but he was with the James Gang before Joe Walsh. I didn't know if you guys ever were around each other. I didn't know.
Well, I met him a couple times, and I thought he was really a fine guitar player and a nice guy, really nice guy.
Sure.
But we never hung out together much.
Gotcha. Phil, what's going on? I'm not going to keep you much longer. I really appreciate you sharing your heart with us tonight, and this has been great. We could talk forever, but what's going on? I know you spend a lot of time in the studio, and plus a lot of time with your family, grandkids, and what's happening?
Yeah. Well, I don't have a gig until October.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a concert until October. I'm pretty much off the road, but I'm doing sessions. I'm co-writing with people. I do guitar sessions for a lot of people, which I love to do. Mm-hmm. My studio, which is where I'm at right now, is my little my underground lair. It's my place where my guitars are, my amps are, my Pro Tools, and I love doing that. But we my wife and I, Bernadette and I, we have our grandsons here twice a week, and we have them for the whole day. So Tuesdays and Thursdays, it's all about them, and that's lovely. The kids love to get up in here, and they like to pluck on the guitars, and they get up on the drum stool, and they start banging the drums.
Yeah.
To Wheels on the Bus, the Wheels on the Bus song everybody loves, all the kids love.
Yes.
And they just play to the Wheels on the Bus. And I think they're going to grow up to be musicians, too.
I'm sure they are. It's in them. Hey, did I hear that What a Day is going to be re-released with some bonus tracks? Have I heard that from somewhere, maybe?
Oh, absolutely. My dear friend, Tom Galata, who is he's created my Bandcamp, Dr.
Yes.
Keaggy Bandcamp.
Tell people about that, please. Yes.
Oh, gosh, if there's anything you're missing, you'll find it there.
Yeah.
You'll find it there. Bandcamp.philkeaggy.
Okay.
And there's also a Bandcamp.glass harp.
Yes.
And so there's a lot of live stuff from Glass Harp. The albums are there. But my own Bandcamp has been a blessing to me because of Tom Galata. I really appreciate that guy.
Yes.
He has done so much for me to get my music out to the world. And there's so much music there. It's like amazing. It's my whole history, my whole entire...
Yes.
From when I was in my mid-teens, my demos from my mid-'60s demos to the present time. Mm-hmm. And I mean, if you want to see the progression of my life history musically, it's all there, you know. So I hope people tune into it, you know. So.
Yes. So with this album, What a Day, will it be on CD as well or completely through Bandcamp?
Yeah. We're going to have the remastered version of What a Day.
Yes.
We're going to have alternate mixes because I've got all the tracks. You know, we did alternate mixes just for the fans because I know that a lot of people like to hear different, aspects of the album.
Yes.
And then there'll be the demos from those, the original demos.
Man!
Before I recorded,
you've got those.
Well, yes, I've got it all.
Oh wow! Is there some tracks that didn't make the album from that era as well?
I think so. Yes, of course. It's going to be a beautiful compilation that Tom is putting together, and it's about to come out soon, very soon.
We should call it Phil Sounds instead of Pet Sounds.
I feel soundy, you know.
Yes.
Yeah. Or I feel Keaggy.
I feel Keaggy.
Yeah.
There you go.
I feel Keaggy.
I love it, man.
There's so much to discover there, and I hope people will listen to that sweet, sweet album, What a Day.
I do every week. I swear I do. I love that album. It's just a part of my life. I love that album, and thank you for it. You know, thank the Lord for bringing it to you. You know, such a great.
I want to say a big thank you to Tommy Coombs, Chuck Gerard, Jay Trett, Bob Taylor, and Bob Wall for the Love Song albums.
That's a great album too. Yeah.
The Love Song albums really changed my life. You know, it gave me hope that I could one day play in a band with brothers that believed the same as I did, believed in Jesus and believed in His love and believed in all that He gave to us.
That's a great album, Phil. I missed that one too when it first came out. I don't know why I missed that one until later. And it's got the same spirit as your first album. It's got that spirit, you know, that it just.
Well, it's probably because I had been listening to the first Love Song album before I did What a Day, and it really touched my soul. It touched my soul deeply. Chuck Gerard's voice, Tommy Coombs' voice, and the band. You know, their harmonies were beautiful. And I think Love Song might be, in my opinion, the most significant musical group that influenced what became the real Jesus music movement.
Sure.
You know, I really do. Yeah, absolutely. I love those guys. They're so great.
I met Tommy one time real briefly. Of course, I talked to him on the phone at your house one day. I'm sorry I never got to meet those guys, but I believe some of them live around Nashville. Is that correct? I believe, maybe, or what?
Yes. Chuck and Tommy live in Nashville and Franklin, Tennessee. And you know what? They are still very vibrant musicians and singers, and I mean, I'm telling you, they're like in their mid-70s, and they're still rocking for Jesus.
That's great.
Yeah.
Well, I'll share some Love Song before we go off tonight. I was going to anyway. I meant to bring that up. Phil, also we want to thank Peppermint Records for the Glass Harp, Where Did My World Come From? I know it's a snapshot of early Phil and John.
Very early.
I know, man. I am going to play a track from that, and I'm going to play the title track if that's cool with you. Anything you'd like to say about that?
Oh, of course. I would love to say that I've been a close friend with John Safara since we were in the 8th grade together at St. Christine's in Youngstown, Ohio. And then in 1969, Steve Markland played bass on that first album. And, that fellow was really a talented musician, too. He was a guitar player that went on to the bass and played a Telecaster bass. And he was awesome. And Steve was part of the development of the glass harp in a very significant way. And then he left the band to join the Human Beings.
Oh, yeah, nobody but me.
Yeah, that's right. Capitol Records, come on.
With the cool fuzz solo in the middle.
Of course. What a great band they were.
Yeah, they were.
Beings were a great band. And Dick Belly and all those guys. But then Daniel Pecchio left the Poppy to join us, me and John. And Daniel brought a maturity to the band. I think the band really began to grow up because of Daniel. Great bass player, great vocalist, and
yes, absolutely,
and still a great friend to today.
Yes,
all the way to this present day. And so, and I must say, John, God bless him, he's truly one of the great drummers of the world, drummer of the world.
Yes.
And I send my love to him tonight. I send my love to Daniel and all the families, everyone. And
I love them both, too.
So, absolutely. And I also did some albums with John and Jack Gehring. We did 3 albums. The Phil Keaggy trio, the Jack Gehring trio, and the John Safara trio.
Oh man, I gotta.
You could find these on my Bandcamp.
I will. I will be getting them. I promise you. I'm a little behind on some stuff, but Neil has already told me about Bandcamp, and I will be doing some catch up work. I promise you. I'll be a good student. Great. I'll be a good student, Phil.
Well, I think you'll enjoy it because there's some really great stuff, almost Booker T and the MGs type style, and the music we made, those 3 albums with John and Jack Gehring, those are pretty special albums to me. Like, for instance, can I make a mention of a song called Thin Ice?
Yes.
Thin Ice. Yeah. Is on. You could find Thin Ice on YouTube. Mm-hmm. And Thin Ice was Jack Gehring and John Safara and myself. And that was my tribute to Jeff Beck.
You did that at the tribute recently, right? Maybe, I think.
I did.
And you got to hang out with Jimmy Hall a little bit.
I got to play guitar behind Jimmy Hall on 3 songs.
Yeah.
It was amazing. And what a sweet man that guy is.
He is, absolutely.
Amazing vocalist. Great vocalist, great talent, and a sweet man, really a sweet guy.
I'm glad you guys got to meet. Yes.
Yeah, we got to meet. What a great guy. Yes.
Well, listen, buddy, I love you. I'm gonna play "Where Did My World Come From?" because this was an early song, and you were asking questions even then.
Yes, I was. I was a searching teenager. But by the mercy of God, I found grace, and I found Jesus found me.
Yeah,
he was never lost.
Amen.
He was never lost. He found me.
That's right.
I just want to encourage our listeners tonight.
Yes, please.
Look to Jesus. Look to Jesus.
Yes.
He loves you so much. He has forgiven us all of our sins.
Yes.
And we have a great hope because of him. And we have a great opportunity to live out our lives, to our full capacity,
Amen.
Musically, creatively, in our families, in our relationships with all people, because, that's the thing, when I meet somebody who's a Christian, I don't care what the color of their skin is.
Yes.
It doesn't matter. When we recognize each other as people created in the image of God, we just can learn to love each other, and That's what's most important.
Amen. That's right. These are just
Yeah.
we're just in earth suits, you know. It doesn't matter what color of the skin; they're just earth suits, and we're just it's just preparing us for the next phase of the journey, you know.
Absolutely, buddy.
Well,
listen, Greg.
I
keep
love
playing
you.
that guitar because you are a great guitar player, and I love you too.
Thank you, and you give Bernadette a hug. I love you, Phil Keaggy. You've been such a good friend for a long time, and I thank God for you. I thank God for you and for us finally crossing paths many years ago through Brother Neil. You know, and
Oh yeah.
you're very encouraging.
I hope to be. I want to say a special hello to Ross Sutherland. Yes. I want to say a special hello to Mark Fisher.
Yeah,
Aaron
Mark.
Lloyd.
Hey.
Oh, absolutely. Those guys are just fantastic brothers, and a special hello to Daniel and John Safara. Daniel and John Safara.
Yeah, we love them all, man.
And thanks, man, thanks for talking to me tonight. And hey, play that "Stay Home Baby" because that's good too.
That is a great one. I will. Yes, and I will. I love you, Phil Keaggy, and I'm gonna play "Where Did My World Come From" Glass Harp right now. Okay.
Okay, buddy.
Okay. Glass Harp here on the Lowdown Hoedown D93, Bolling Green's classic rock from the 1972 release, It Makes Me Glad. I'm Going Home, and before that, David and Goliath. We heard one track from Where Did My World Come From, the title track, which is just released on Peppermint Records, so check that out online. Such great stuff. Hey, let's take care of some business, and we've got a psychedelic snack. We got some love song up for you. Phil was talking about that earlier, and we got to check that out. Thank you, Phil Keaggy, for calling in. What a great talk.
Blues Traveler in concert. May 2nd, on stage at Skypack. Blues Traveler, live. Tickets are on sale now at skypack.com. Don't miss Blues Traveler. Produced by Outback Presents.
Music, and more music. Melodies and Memories is the largest record store around, offering hundreds of new and pre-owned records, CDs, and more. Need a way to play those tunes? Climb their stairway to heaven to an incredible selection of vintage stereo equipment. Into band t-shirts? Over 5,000 in stock. How about pop culture? They have the largest selection of videos, games, consoles, posters, and more. Open 10 to 9, Tuesday through Saturday in downtown Bolling Green, next to Candlemakers on the Square. Melodies and Memories, BG's largest store for all things music and memorabilia.
What do you guys think about your first visit to Mellow Mushroom?
Good pizza, good salads. I like the sandwiches. Good atmosphere.
I've got two boys, ages 8 and 6, and they love to come here. They think it's a lot of fun.
I've basically come to Mellow Mushroom. It's convenient. I work downtown. It's a fun atmosphere.
I like the hoagie the best. I'm a vegetarian, so I like the tofu. I don't know what it is in the ingredients. It just tastes better, and they have fabulous service.
I really like their beer. It's crafty, and they have a wide selection.
The Mellow Mushroom. Visit us at the corner of Chestnut and 11th Avenue in Bowling Green.
Feeling boxed in by cable? Now's the time to break free from that overpriced TV bill and switch to Philo. With Philo, you'll get 70-plus channels live and on demand, plus an unlimited DVR, all for just $25 a month. You'll get the same channels you love, like AMC, Discovery, Hallmark Channel, Lifetime, MTV, Nickelodeon, TLC, VH1, and more, all for a fraction of the cost of cable. And the unlimited DVR lets you save tons of your favorite movies and shows for a year, so you can catch up on your schedule. That's endless entertainment at your fingertips. Best of all, switching to Philo could save you hundreds of dollars a year on your TV bill, making cutting the cord a no-brainer decision. You can even try Philo free for the first week, and because there's no contract, you can cancel at any time. But you probably won't, because who doesn't love saving money? So think outside the box and stay within your budget. Sign up with Philo today. It's super easy and takes way less time than calling your cable company to cancel your subscription. Visit philo.tv/cutthecord to get started today.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 40-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term life insurance may only cost you about $100 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-353-9057. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance to buy $1 million of affordable term life for you. All you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-353-9057. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-353-9057. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. For affordable term life insurance, call 800-353-9057. 800-353-9057.
Mic check, 1, 2, 3, check, 1, 2, 3.
From small clubs to concert venues to outdoor festivals, the Lindsay Production Group stands ready to help with all your production needs. At Lindsay Production Group, their team of production experts can create an event that offers the best audience experience ever. Concerts, festivals, political events, church events, and more. Lindsay Production Group is here to make your event an occasion to remember. Their aim is to make things move as seamless as possible, and they've set the bar for event production companies in this area. Concert touring can be highly stressful, and the crew at Lindsay Production Group has been trusted by local favorites like the Kentucky Headhunters, Sam Bush, Webb Wilder, and more. So when you need staging and production at your event, it's time to call the best. Lindsay Production Group. Sound, stage, lights, they do it all. Call 270-799-1718. That's 270-799-1718.
That's a wrap.
Welcome back to the Lowdown Hoedown. It's time for our psychedelic snack. We're a little late tonight, but that's okay. We had such a great talk with Brother Phil Keaggy. So we're going back to the year 1972, a group called Love Song from California. Chuck, Tom, Jay, and Bob. Chuck Girard and Tom Coombs, we were talking about them earlier. And this is from their debut album. Check it out. This is from... I think maybe if you saw the Jesus Revolution movie recently, you probably heard this song right here, Little Country Church.
Little country church on the edge of town. People coming every day from miles around for meetings and for Sunday school. And it's very plain to see it's not the way it used to be. Preacher isn't talking about religion no more. He just wants to praise the Lord. People aren't as stuffy as they were before. They just want to praise the Lord. And it's very plain to see it's not the way it used to be. No, no, no. They're talking about revival and the need for love. That little church has come alive, working with each other for the common good, putting all the past aside. Long hair, short hair, some coats and ties. People finally coming around, looking past the hair and straight into the eyes. People finally coming around, and it's very plain to see it's not the way it used to be. No, no, no,
That's Love Song here on the Lowdown Hoedown for your psychedelic snack. Ain't that beautiful right there? Two Hands and Little Country Church from their debut. We'll try to get those guys on sometime. What a great night it's been. So I'm going to go out with Phil Keaggy's from your first solo album that we talked about. That is What the Lord Will Do for You from What a Day. Good night. God bless. Thanks for listening in. Catch you next week.
Winter's here, autumn's gone, leaves have fallen. It's the season before the dawn. Spring is calling, and as winter comes to an end, spring brings life again, born again, given life anew. That is what the Lord will do for you. Just in case you haven't heard, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He gives light to all mankind, He gives sight to the blind, able to see, able to live anew. Life, and that is what He'll give to you, and it's free. All you have to do is believe that He loved you, died for you, is evermore alive for you. Something about the wind and how it blows, where it's coming from and then where it goes. There's no doubt when you hear it, there's no doubt when you're born of the Spirit, born again, given life anew. That is what the Lord will do for you.
WDNS, Bolling Green's classic rock, T93.
City and brings together throngs of costume fans and dedicated followers.